So let's take this up now with our panel. Joining me, Townhall editor and Fox News contributor Katie Pavlich, and Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor Charlie Hurt. Thank you both for joining us.
Great to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Katie, let me start with you. Do you think people are going to buy this latest explanation for inflation that somehow it's Republicans to blame because they don't have any solutions for it?
No, I think the American people are looking back at the first year of the Biden administration and seeing and looking for why they're facing the costs that they are at the gas tank, or at the gas pump rather, and at the grocery store. They're looking and seeing that the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan that was pushed by the Biden White House early on in February of 2021 was passed solely by Democrats without a single Republican vote. And I think they're looking back on the president's push for the Build Back Better plan, which they wanted to spend $6 trillion additional dollars on top of that $2 trillion, and thinking, look, Republicans are offering an alternative solution, and the Democratic record for the past year when they've had full control of the federal government has not been good for their family. And the ultimate question is, are you better off now than you were a year ago? And the answer for the vast majority of people is absolutely not.
Yeah, famous question that Ronald Reagan famously asked Jimmy Carter, and asked the American people when he was running against Jimmy Carter, of course, in 1980. Charlie, it's clear that they do see they have a problem with inflation. President Biden gave that big speech this week. Again, it was a rather strange to target. Do you think they do understand just how big the problem is, having been dismissing it for the last year?
I don't know if they understand it or not, but I think they understand how how much trouble they are in. And that's why we're seeing all of this. The problem with inflation is you can't hide from it. It affects absolutely everybody. And, of course, you don't need government statistics to know that you're paying way more at the gas pump. You don't need the Bureau of Labor Statistics to tell you that you're out of money, with one trip to the grocery store. But I think the real damage, and there's real damage that is done to Democrats because of that. But there's even further damage when they come up with all these cockamamie claims about how it's Putin's fault or it's the Republicans' fault. And I think that especially when sort of American people sort of start focusing on the fact that they are paying more and what's the problem here, the idea that you have Joe Biden coming out and talking about how we need to pass more stimulus because somehow stimulus is going to help inflation, it's absolutely absurd. And I think that people are realizing, and I think the real reaction we're getting from the White House stems from the fact that you've got so many, you've got Congress, all of the House and a third of the Senate up for re-election this fall, and it's Democrats in Congress who are banging on the White House saying, stop claiming this isn't going on, stop claiming it's transitory, and start acting, doing something serious, sounding like serious people addressing this, because we're going to pay the price for your disastrous policies.
And Katie, it's not just inflation. The other big problem, of course, is that in order to get inflation down, the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates. It's going to be aggressively raising interest rates probably for the rest of the year. We already had a contraction in the economy in the first quarter of this year. Some economists are even saying we're already in a recession, or we may well certainly have a recession by the end of the year or the beginning of next year. So things are just going to get worse, aren't they?
Yeah, and I guess you could, look at the White House when they say they're not concerned about a recession and say, well, what else are they supposed to say, that they're looking forward to it? But yes, things are going to get worse. The government now has to be even more involved in trying to figure out how to, reduce the severity of a recession. And the White House and the Economic Council that is advising President Joe Biden isn't of the mindset or of the philosophy, the economic philosophy, that government should take a step back and get out of the way and stop spending. The people who are advising President Joe Biden on the economy have a very different view than Larry Summers, for example, who warned about this inflation, who was an Obama economic advisor. They believe in the power of the government infusing more capital into the economy, despite the inflationary effects that we've seen. So, yes, it's going to get worse because nobody on that Economic Council has changed their opinion, and they haven't been switched out for new economic advisors as we see the results of what they've decided to do over the past year.